Reaction continues to pour in tonight following the federal government's long-awaited budget. The Liberals unveiled its first fiscal update in almost a year late this afternoon, and the first under Prime Minister Mark Carney. Joining me now to help unpack it all is Bryan Borzykowski. Bryan, good to speak with you.
Good to see you.
First, I'm curious, what stood out to you in this budget?
I got to say, what stood out to me was it wasn't quite or not even close to as transformative as Mark Carney and his team were making it out to be. It sounded like there were going to be major announcements, potentially changes to things that affect kind of everyday people and affordability. It really wasn't that. I guess the biggest thing, of course, is that deficit that's now at $78.3 billion. That's, about just under double where it was projected to be. It's $141 billion in spending, offset by about $51 billion in cuts, so sort of $89 billion in new spending. So there's a lot of spending. There are some cuts to offset that, but will this actually spur our economy? Will it get people, answer the question about tariffs and help us become competitive? That remains to be seen. There are some things in there like major infrastructure spending, $30 billion in defense, those sorts of things that could spur economic growth. But I will say it was a bit disappointing given all the hype that they put behind this.
Interesting, you're talking and you noted the concern about the need to spur the economy, because a lot of people were saying, this really needed to be a Trump survival blueprint. Was there enough announced in this budget to see some real transformation or change when it comes to, giving our economy a boost and attracting investment?
It's unclear at the moment. The budget just came out, but I don't see anything in there right now. One of the big, pillars of this was $110 billion in productivity and competitiveness. And one of those things is called the super deduction, which allows companies to write off capital investments, as buying equipment and other materials and those sorts of things faster than they would otherwise. Of course, companies have to take advantage of that before they can write that off. So we'll see if they actually do. They're not going to do anything if they feel uncertain or they feel that they can't get ahead in Canada. And there was no, things that really make a difference to the average person. And when it comes to our own spending, the government needs us to spend too. So there's no sort of encouragement around tax breaks or anything like that for the individual that could help spur the economy further. The investments, sure, in infrastructure, that's going to get people working. That's going to help spur our economy. But I would say I thought there'd be maybe things more targeted to certain industries, sort of bigger announcements around things that really sort of touch on that tariff issue. But I haven't seen that yet.
All right, let's tackle affordability now, because this was a big issue for Canadians who need some help given the cost of living today. Was there enough to see any relief for the average Canadian?
Not only was there not enough, there was almost nothing. So there really was no measures on an individual level besides some very sort of minor things that it's not even kind of worth going into detail with, because there was expectation that maybe retirees would be able to keep more money in their RSPs or their RIFs after they turn 71, which would allow people to hang on to more of their investments. That didn't happen. There were thoughts about maybe sort of bigger corporate tax cuts or those sorts of things. That didn't really happen. So there's not much. I mean, on the flip side of that, I guess you could say it's good that they didn't touch a lot of the programs that do impact people, that $10 a day daycare that many people have taken advantage of, dental care, pharma care, those sorts of things were not touched. So people can still rely on those. So that could be a big thing, because everything you would think would be on the table in terms of cuts or spending, but there were no real kind of big measures when it comes to your own personal finances that will get people excited or will help that affordability. They did say, they're going to invest $25 billion in home building. Those things take time. It's not going to reduce home prices for people who are looking for houses now. There's no other measures that will help people there. So really not much on that front.
All right, we got to talk about the deficit before I let you go. $78.3 billion. Is this sustainable?
Well, that's the big question. Deficits alone aren't necessarily that bad. It just means that you're spending more than you're bringing in. But at some point, the government's going to have to stop carrying these large deficits. I mean, this is a big one when we're not in COVID. COVID was the biggest. This is pretty big for this time year, but we are in an unprecedented time with tariffs. So maybe they need to be spending more. And I think that's what they're trying to do. We'll spend a little more and we'll get the economy going. If that works, sure, then that's great. They'll bring more revenue in and then they can pay that down. They're expecting it to go down over the next 5 years, but it's still going to be higher than what they projected at for this year. So it's not great, but I guess it remains to be seen how bad it might be.
Well, Bryan, I want to thank you for sharing your thoughts with us tonight. It was great speaking with you.
Thank you.